So y'all thought Father's Day was just about Ty's barbecue and Instagram. Captions, think again this year. It turned into a full-blown emotional war zone, starring none other than hip-hop's once unshakable queen, Remy Ma, now on the wrong side of a history-making moment because while she was out here tossing shade and throwing around the word ashamed like it was part of her skincare routine, Papoose did something nobody saw coming. He reunited publicly, proudly, and unapologetically with his transcend baby. The internet did not come to play, and just when you thought it couldn't get any messier, boom, the full video leaked. The hugs, the tears, the raw truth, and yep, the exact second, the crowd screamed louder than Rhee's ego. So what really happened behind that reunion? Why was Remy Ma allegedly trying to bury this story? And how did Papoose pull off the ultimate plot twist that left her reputation in absolute shambles? Get your popcorn, your screenshots, and your shady tweets ready, because the truth is messier than Rhee's last PR stunt. Let's break it down, and trust me, you're not ready for what's coming next. This is Bazaar, and today we're stepping into something deeper than bars, beefs, or bet stage brawls, because this time, the drama isn't just about Remy Ma's love life or Papoose's loyalty. Nah, this time it's about family identity and a Father's Day moment that broke the internet. Picture it. Harlem, a sunny afternoon, dozens gathered at a community center for a quiet celebration of black fathers, but nobody expected who would walk in next. Papoose, flanked by his trans son, hand in hand, and when, say, jaws dropped, I mean phones were up, tears were flowing, and Remy Ma's silence suddenly started sounding very, very loud. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, because before we talk about the video that leaked, yes, leaked and sent shock waves across the culture, we need to unpack how we even got here. How did Papoose, the king of rap loyalty, end up staging a viral reunion with his child and in the process completely dismantling Remy Ma's carefully curated public image? It all started months ago. You know how it goes. Remy Ma sitting pretty on a podcast couch, rocking designer shades, indoors like it's part of her brand, speaking just vague enough to go viral. The host asked about family privacy, and Remy never one to keep it PG delivered. This quote, I think people be performative like some stuff ain't for the timeline. Not everybody's ready to show the things they ain't proud of. Excuse me, what? The internet did not miss that one. Within hours, Twitter detectives had their gloves on. Reddit threads were lighting up, and fans started stitching that clip with old family photos, side-eyes from interviews, and even distant cousins who went live claiming they had seen the tension firsthand. And just like that, the rumors became facts. Remy Ma was allegedly calling Papoose's transcend something to be ashamed of, and baby, the backlash, it wasn't just loud, it was savage. Comments poured in. So Remy proud of pulling a gun, but not of her child. Got it. Black love was never about love, just control. She don't support trans people, and it shows. And the worst part, Papoose stayed completely silent. Not a single tweet, not a single bar, not even a shady story repost for weeks. People started speculating that maybe he agreed with Remy, or worse, that he was trying to hide it all until it blew over. Until this past Sunday, because on Father's Day, 2025, the silence broke, and it didn't just break, it exploded. The first video came from a random attendee at the event. Grainy footage, bad lighting, a shaky phone camera, but clear as day. Papoose standing at a podium, his arm around a young man in a fitted suit, smiling nervously. The caption did not expect to see this. Papoose just introduced his son and said, "This is my child. I was never ashamed. I was just late, but I'm here now." Boom. That one TikTok went from 87 views to 1.7 million in under 3 hours, and when the full HD video leaked online, game over. The reunion showed Papoose holding back tears, talking about forgiveness, identity, and how real men show up even when it's hard. Meanwhile, the audience, and now the internet, was erupting in applause, heart emojis, end quote. Tweets like, "This is fatherhood." Papoose just did what most men in his position never do. Somebody check on Remy. Speaking of which, where was Remy Ma? Because she wasn't in the building, she wasn't mentioned, she wasn't even on Instagram. In fact, her entire account went dark for a full 24 hours, no stories, no tweets. Just silence, and a growing army of followers demanding a response. And then the comments started turning brutal. Guess now, we know why she stayed home. She tried to shame a man into silence, and he responded with, "Love." Remy Ma's career just ended on Father's Day, and the wildest part, some of her own fans started jumping ship. Comment sections on old posts were flooded with "unfollowing, do better," and the infamous "black love was never real, it was scripted." Now, let's be clear, this wasn't just a petty clapback moment. This was a cultural shift, because in a genre like hip-hop, where masculinity is often rigid and fragile, to see a man like Papoose, respected street-verified lyrical legend, openly embraces trans child in public, that's not just rare, it's revolutionary. And for Remy Ma, it's devastating, because this isn't just about one reunion, it's about a whole narrative. She spent years building the tough love, ride-or-die wife, the unapologetic mother, the brand ambassador of black love, all of it crumbling because one man, her man, decided to do what she wouldn't show up for his child. And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, boom, a second clip leaked, this time from backstage. In it, you can hear Papoose's voice saying, "I kept quiet long enough, but I'm done protecting people who don't protect what matters." Ouch. That wasn't just a quote, that was a funeral bell. And the internet ate it up now. Fans weren't just dragging Remy, they were rewriting history. People started resurfacing old interviews where she cut Papoose off mid-sentence time. She laughed at serious questions, old love and hip-hop clips, where she dismissed emotional conversations with a side-eye and a smirk. The timeline had officially turned against her, and this Father's Day wasn't about her anymore. It was about truth, family growth, and a man who refused to stay silent. So just as Papoose stood on that Harlem stage with his trance on, with cameras rolling, voices cracking, and the crowd ready to throw roses at his feet, Remy Ma's world behind the scenes, it was starting to burn like a bet green room fight gone viral. Now here's where things take a sharp left turn, because while the public was falling in love with Papoose all over again, Rhee's silence wasn't just awkward anymore, it was looking downright guilty. Why? Because within 48 hours of that emotional Father's Day video, leaking multiple anonymous DMs started landing in gossip inboxes everywhere, and baby the tea boiling. Let's start with the first message that made its way to an unnamed blog with 187K followers. "I used to be close with Remy's team. She never wanted that child around, said it would ruin the brand." That's a quote. Phew. And don't worry, it didn't stop there. Another alleged former stylist dropped receipts, claiming that during a fitting last year for a family shoot, Remy reportedly said, "We're keeping this clean, no confusion. People need to see black excellence, not that." Now let's pause for a second, because that comment, that's not just a bad take. That's a nuclear meltdown in progress, especially in 2025, when visibility and inclusion are not just expected, they're demanded. And yet, as the screenshots piled up and exposed accounts began breaking down every timeline outfit and awkward interview clip in Remy's career, what was her response? Nothing, no apology, no clarification, not even a classic "y'all misunderstood me" Instagram story in white font on a black background, not a radio silence. Meanwhile, Papoose, he was booked and busy. The Harlem event was just the beginning. In the days following, he was spotted at a youth center with his son, again, this time donating books, hosting a panel on fatherhood, and yes, rocking a shirt that said "Real men stand with their kids." Period. Instant meme, instant merch, instant legacy moment. And don't think the media wasn't watching within hours. Rolling Stone, XXL, and even BuzzFeed ran stories on the Father's Day reunion, but all of them asked the same question: where was Remy Ma? And that's when the internet exploded all over again. TikTokers did split screens comparing Remy's speeches about unity to her current silence. Fan-made documentaries popped up overnight, titled "The Fall of Remy Ma" and "From Black Love to Cancelled: What Happened to Remy." Even Twitter users who used to defend her were tweeting, "We rode for you when they disrespected your talent, but this is unforgivable." She had a platform. She chose to spit on it, protecting her image while hurting her own child is not power, it's cowardice. Then came the final blow from none other than a former Love and Hip Hop producer who dropped this juicy leak. Remy was given a full opportunity to include her son in the latest Black Love spin-off. She declined, said it's not the storyline we want to tell. You could hear the collective scream from the culture, because that wasn't just shade, that was evidence. And if you know the internet, you know once something feels like truth, it becomes truth fast, and the timing couldn't have been worse, because while Remy tried to lay low, her past kept catching up. Old interview clip surfaced where she downplayed gender identity, fan Q, and where she awkwardly avoided saying how many kids she had. Even distant family members started hopping on IG Live. With prayers for healing and thinly veiled, "she know what she did" energy. And yet, while Remy's team scrambled to shut it all down, Papoose's Transin, let's call him Zion for now, became the real story. Clips of Zion hugging his father started trending. A quiet, soft-spoken voice saying, "I didn't know if I'd ever get to call him dad again. But he showed up, that's all I ever needed." Y'all, Twitter was in shambles. #dad goals trended for 6 hours. Straight celebrities from Cardi B to Lever Cox reposted the clip, even Barack Obama, yes, President Obama himself, reportedly liked a tweet from a fan saying this is what fatherhood looks like in 2025. And while all that was happening, Remy Ma's mentions were a wasteland. She posted a photo of her nails 4 days later, and the first 300 comments were, "How about posting a kid? Girl, we ain't forgetting, nails, cute." Still canceled, but the pettiest move of all came from Papoose himself, and it was subtle, sharp, and absolutely savage. He changed his bio. That's right, the man who used to proudly keep husband to Remy Ma in all caps on every social media platform now had something new. Father poet. Work in progress. No Remy, no reference. Just a quiet unfollow and a louder message than any diss track could ever deliver. And that's when Scoop Bazaar received the tip that truly shook us. A source close to the family, allegedly a cousin who's been at every family barbecue since 2013, claimed that Remy had already been distancing herself from Zion for years. She was embarrassed she didn't want him around the industry people every time he came up, she changed the subject. If true, this isn't just neglect, it's image control at the expense of your child's humanity, and in a time where authenticity is the currency of public favor. Remy Ma, she's officially broke, but wait, because as the fallout continues, another unexpected name is about to enter the chat, and let's just say she's not coming quietly, because up next, the woman who's been suspiciously silent during all of this, but now appears front and center in Papoose's latest post, yep, Clarissa Shields. By now Remy Ma's name was hanging in the algorithm like a ghost, haunted by screenshots, stitched into thousands of TikToks and echoing through Twitter threads where even her staunchest defenders had gone quiet. But just when the dust seemed to be settling and Remy was maybe gearing up to issue one of those carefully curated healing journey statements, boom, Clarissa Shields dropped a bomb. It was subtle, almost too subtle, but the internet doesn't miss anything. A photo, Clarissa standing next to Papoose, both smiling, his arm loosely draped across her shoulders, behind them a mural that read, "You don't get to choose the child you raise, but you do choose how you raise them." No caption, no tag, just the quiet flex of someone who knew exactly what they were doing, and the internet lost its mind immediately. Clarissa started trending, not for her fights, not for her Olympic titles, but for her master-level silent shade. Fans were decoding every pixel of that photo like it was a government file leak. Oh, she knew exactly what she was doing with that quote behind them. This isn't support, this is strategy. She's sending a message loud and clear. That's how you support a black man and his child, quiet, strong, and undeniable. And while Clarissa didn't say much, she didn't have to, because her next IG story was a repost of Zion's hug with Papoose with a text overlay. "This is what love looks like, proud of them both." That right there was a one-net-wo punch to Remy Ma's entire brand, because now it wasn't just about Papoose and his son, it was about the new support system forming around him. And Clarissa, she wasn't just standing in the background anymore, she was clearly standing beside him now. Let's not forget, Clarissa had already been rumored to be more than just a friend ever since those BET Awards side-eyes. But this was confirmation that she was emotionally invested, at the very least. And guess what happened next? Remy Ma finally reappeared, but not in the way anyone expected. She posted a black square caption, "Healing is never linear, but silence doesn't mean shame. Stay tuned. Girl, what the audience reaction instant roast session you had weeks. And this is what you came with. Silence means nothing when your child needed support. That black square ain't going to save you this time, sis." It was the worst possible move at the worst possible time, because while she was being vague and performative, Zion went live. Yes, the same quiet, soft-spoken son people had barely seen before he took to Instagram Live that evening and said, "I don't want this to be about hate, I just want it to be seen. And my dad gave me that I love my mom, but I can't protect her feelings over my truth." That line alone sent Twitter spiraling into a wave of support and sobbing reaction videos. People were now not only dragging Remy, they were uplifting Zion as the symbol of healing, courage, and generational change. News outlets began calling the situation one of the most significant moments in hip-hop parenting history. And while that sounds dramatic, let's be honest, it was. Meanwhile, brands that once worked with Remy Ma gone. A major haircare sponsor quietly pulled their upcoming campaign. A talk show appearance was rescheduled indefinitely, and a panel she was set to headline on empowering black mothers was, well, let's just say they replaced her face with Clarissa's in the promo overnight. Now let's talk legal, because insiders began whispering that silence wasn't just strategy, it was legal. Rumors began flying that her team was trying to prevent Zion from sharing more about private family tensions. Some even suggested that she had once blocked a book deal that Zion had pitched about growing up in the shadows of fame. An unnamed publishing insider dropped this. The proposal was real, but Remy didn't want her name used. She threatened legal action. If true, it confirms what many feared, that this wasn't about misunderstanding. This was about control, image, and shutting down anyone who didn't fit the narrative. Now, imagine watching your brand disintegrate while your ex, yes, because that's the next rumor, is being celebrated as Father of the Year. Multiple sources close to the family now claim that Remy and Papoose are officially separated, and while no divorce papers have surfaced, let's just say his wedding ring has been missing since the reunion. And Clarissa, she's not just holding hands anymore. She's allegedly been seen house shopping with him in Jersey. One fan summed it up perfectly. Remy lost a son, a man, and the internet all in 1 month. Oof. But before we wrap this up, let's be real. This isn't just about one family. This moment hit everyone differently, because in a culture that still struggles to accept anything outside the traditional, Papoose didn't just show up for his son, he showed up for an entire community. And Remy, she showed us what happens when you try to silence a truth that refuses to stay hidden. This Father's Day was more than just cards and cookouts. It was a cultural reset, and if Remy Ma wants redemption, she's going to have to do more than just post black squares and vague captions. she's going to have to show up, and not just for herself. And now let's wrap this up with a bang. Scroll down for your explosive call to action, because this story, it's far from over. So now we ask, was this a redemption arc or a reckoning? Because after years of presenting the picture perfect image of black love, Remy Ma has been forced to watch that very image shatter in real time, and this time it wasn't a cheating scandal, a love triangle, or a diss track that did it. It was fatherhood, truth, and a son who simply wanted to be seen. We watched Papoose do something that too many men in his position still refuse to do: show up publicly for his trans child, and in doing so, he didn't just defy Remy Ma's words, he defied a whole system of silence, shame, and image obsession that's rotted hip-hop from the inside, and Remy, well, the silence spoke volumes. But now the question is, can she recover from this, or did her own child's truth just end the Remy Ma brand forever? You already know what time it is. Fire drop your thoughts in the comments. Was Papoose right to go public without her? Do you think Clarissa is playing the support card or something more? And most importantly, is there any redemption left for Remy Ma? If you want more truth there, too scared to post more stories that make your jaw drop, and more secrets that the celebs wish would stay buried back, index pointing right, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss the next expose. This is Scoop.